We're looking for dedicated individuals with interest in hosting, co-hosting, conducting interviews, production assistance, and even participating in our up-and-coming drama series. Don't sit on the couch. Contact us at info@cmpradio.net or our Facebook page at cmpradio.net. Cultivate mature positivity. It's the station.
cmpradio.net, it's the station. Listen, let's cultivate together. Let's grow something spectacular together. Send me your info to info@cmpradio.net. We're looking for content creators, videographers, everything, man. Let's grow something special right here. Homegrown, Chester, Pennsylvania. Let's go. Let's get it down, man. It's your boy, Uncle P, reminding you, man. cmpradio.net, cultivating mature positivity.
I'm good to go. Oh, sorry, I'm going to introduce myself again. A little technical difficulty. This is Mental Health Talk with yours truly. I am Christina McIntyre. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to share this broadcast when you do come in. This week we are going to talk about mental health and racism. First, let me give a shout out to my sponsor, Flawless Tires. You can find them 1195 Chester Pike and Eddystone. Make sure you hit them up. Tell them that I sent you. They will definitely help get your car right back on the road. This topic this week I wanted to discuss because I know a lot of us suffer from mental health issues and a lot of us continue to suffer in silence. It's more awareness is being brought upon it, but especially people of color suffer more intensely than those other races, a lot of times because we don't get the proper diagnosis. And so I'm going to throw a little bit of facts out there for y'all. About 16, so African Americans make up about 13.3% of the U.S. population. That's about 46 million people. Of those, 16% of African Americans suffer from mental health illnesses each year, and that is only those that report it. So a lot of times, African Americans or other people of color don't get properly diagnosed because they aren't reporting it. One out of three actually receive the care that they need, and so a lot of times, a lot of people of color suffer from mental health issues and they're not getting properly diagnosed. I didn't even know this as well. A lot of times doctors tend to be more aggressive towards people of color when they are reaching out to get the care they need for their mental health issues. So you have to think, if you're someone that's suffering, you're going to a doctor and they have aggression toward you just because the color of their skin, you're not likely to return and you're not likely to reach out the help that you need. You think that maybe all doctors are like that. A lot of times in the area of therapy, there aren't a lot of people that look like us, so we tend not to trust those doctors to help us in our time of need. And so we get left suffering in silence. And these are some not facts or symptoms, but these are some things to look out for of why people of color suffer from trauma related to mental health. A lot of times people of color, they suffer from racism because typically white people will avoid them when they see them in neighborhoods. Bank and credit card companies won't loan out money to people of color, or if they do choose to, they give them a higher rate than their counterpart. A lot of people of color get incarcerated. It could be the same crime their white counterpart has committed, but they most likely will either get in prison or get a harsher sentence. And then racial profiling, and then also in schools, depending on the area, the curriculum is taught differently. I know from experience, I was born in Chester. I was here until I was about 10 or 11 years old. And then I went to Delaware to go live with my aunt. And the teaching was definitely different. I had to take a test to figure out which class I would go into, and I was a little bit behind. And so not only is mental health being affected by, our race, but also how we learn as well. And there are different types of racism, and I'm going to just briefly explain because it is definitely a lot of topics. So racism in general is about prejudice and power, right? That's the brief definition of that. And then you have systematic and structural racism, which can involve history, culture, and institutional policies, which can be, nursing homes and hospitals and prisons and, like I said before, schools. Interpersonal racism is racism that happened between people. They have internalized racism, which is racism and white supremacy, where white people feel they are superior to black people. They have something called racial trauma, which is traumas experiencing from racism. Again, I said that a lot of people get misdiagnosed. This one fact that I found out that I had no idea, a lot of times when black people or people of color go to therapy and they're coming to them with their problems, a lot of people are misdiagnosed. So a lot of black people are misdiagnosed with schizophrenia. When they do go get help for, maybe they are suffer from depression or anxiety and panic. So right away, without proper diagnosis, the doctor slaps the schizophrenic label on them because maybe they're too much, right? And so black men in particular are the ones that suffer the most. To get a diagnosis like schizophrenic, you have to have a mood disorder persistent beforehand. And so without proper diagnosis, a lot of us in our community are suffering because we are entrusting these people to help us, but because the color of their skin, they don't want to do what it takes or take the time out to properly diagnose us. A lot of times, they want to slap these labels on us. Just maybe some people just want to write a check. Some people don't even want to be bothered, and maybe they can't relate, right? It's a lot of people that want to go to people that can relate to us, and so a lot of times when these doctors are diagnosing us, even if it is not a psychologist or psychiatrist, if you have an experience going to a regular doctor, you can tell by experience. My uncle has shared a story with me. Last week, he had went to the doctor, and he was running just a few minutes late, and the receptionist asked him why, he didn't call ahead of time to check in and let them know he was going to be late. He was stuck in traffic. There was nothing that he can do. And her energy towards him, because he felt like the color of his skin, when the doctor said, oh, it was okay, just allow him in, her whole attitude changed. So it's a lot of situations that we're in that we're not getting help that we need because the color of our skin, and it's not right. A lot of people are fighting to get find or get us the proper help that we need in a lot of different ways. Our mental health definitely is affected, especially with our youth, right? So in schools, when your child is suffering and they don't get the proper diagnosis, it gets left unchecked, and then maybe they had a issue that could have been resolved when they were a child and it didn't, and so now they're going through school, they're having behavior problems, and so in turn they may wind up getting into juvenile detentions and then become an adult, and then that turns into prison, or they can get overdiagnosed as well. I mean, I believe of different things. I don't want to put my beliefs out there, but I think a lot of times maybe they're just diagnosing kids with things just to cut a check for the school, or they don't want to be bothered, so maybe they'll diagnose this child with this disorder, and so they can get the extra help that they need. It's a shame that because of the color of our skin that we either get overdiagnosed, or we don't get properly diagnosed, or we don't get the help that we need. And so and this makes us definitely suffer in silence as relation to mental health. If we don't get our proper diagnosis and we have mental health issues, it can cause a lot of problems, right? A lot of people turn to drugs and alcohol, do a lot of things, murder, rape, all these aftermaths from not getting properly diagnosed can affect our lives, and people around us as well. So it's important, especially if you are suffering, to find a doctor that is going to care about you. And you might have to go through a few doctors before you find the right one, and that is okay. Everyone is not like that, but overall, the experience of people of color in this country with mental health, it gets left untreated. And with that number that I gave y'all, out of the, we black people only make up about 14% of the population. 16% only reported. And so it may be a lot of people out there that are suffering, and they are afraid to go to the doctor because of experiences they had, not just, with mental health, but with just anything in general, being out in public. I remember growing up, I'm biracial, and growing up, the experience I had in the store with my mom, the associates refusing us service because she had, mixed children, that from young taught us, maybe to be fearful of people, to go get help from them as well. And so actually, though, it's another statistic, if you're multiracial or biracial, we are among the highest people that actually suffer from mental health, and we are more likely not to get our proper diagnosis. 24.9% of people that suffer from mental health are those that are biracial or multiracial. And so it's definitely important. It's a lot of things that go on that we don't know unless we educate ourselves, unless we do something about it, right? These things are going on, especially a lot of things happened last year with racism in this country, and even in our community. It's left us, excuse me, I can't talk today. It's left up to us to fight together to change some of these policies, right? And to fight for what is right. Like, if you're going to a doctor and you're trying to get a diagnosis, and you want to get the right diagnosis, and you feel like you're speaking to a doctor and they're not hearing you, or they just want to write you off. Like, I've been to a therapist that, like, the whole time they were looking down as they were speaking to me. To me, that is neglectful. To me, that doesn't show compassion, right? If you're suffering from mental health issues, you want a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist that shows compassion. That's what they're there for. But some people are there just for money, and that's why I said you might have to shop around like you do for tires on your car to get the right one to fit for you. Unfortunately, I had a good experience when I went to therapy. I found a holistic therapist that helped me on my way. And just luckily, it was my first time trying it out, and I was able to find what I needed. And it's not the same situation for everybody, but you must continue to fight for yourself. If you are suffering from mental health issues, eventually you'll find a doctor that will connect to you, but don't give up on yourself. Continue to fight for yourself. If you know that you are suffering, you know you haven't been feeling yourself lately, you know you have these issues, definitely go get help. You don't have to suffer by yourself. And then try, if you feel more comfortable with someone of the same skin color as you, you can go online and search for the specific thing that you need. So even though Black people are one of the people that suffer the most, we're actually not the race that has the highest mental health issues. Biracial people are the top, and then white people are beneath that, and then I think it's Asian and Pacific Islander, and then actually Black people have the lowest one. It's just we don't get the treatment that we need. Like, we suffer more because we're left untreated. So again, with healthcare, I'm gonna speak about healthcare. So trying to get a proper diagnosis, and then having healthcare to do so. So a lot of times people in communities, Black communities, people, color communities, they don't have health insurance. They, according to statistics, only one out of every three actually get the care they need. One, maybe health insurance is too high, and so when you have bills to pay, you tend to put your health on the back burner, right? You're going to take care of what is needed first. So mental health is not top priority, especially if you have a family to take care of. And so not having access to health care can be detrimental not only to your mental, but your physical as well. A lot of us, when we suffer mentally, it affects our physical. Some more statistics. A lot of people that are left untreated with mental health issues tend to have a lot of physical illnesses as well, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol. And when these get left untreated, they can cause more issues as well. So that proper diagnosis means a lot, not just for our mental, but our physical. Everything ties in together. And it's definitely important to continue to seek the help that we need and get these resources out there. Try to find the resources, come together. If you know someone is suffering, they're looking, try to help them as much as possible. I think more and more there are more and more people of color, doctors, that are coming out and are available to help those people that feel more comfortable having someone the same skin color as them, so they can get the help that they need. A lot of people that do get improper diagnosed, they are still suffering, especially if you suffer from depression, PTSD, anxiety, and panic. A lot of those get looked over, not saying that they are less severe than something like schizophrenic, but they are more manageable. And some don't have to have medication, but because we're not getting properly diagnosed, those issues are related. Or if you do get diagnosed, let's say you don't have schizophrenia and you get on medication, they prescribe you medication because they said that you have this, it can wreak havoc on your body, right? If you put in your body something that you don't need, it could definitely change your brain chemistry. It could change how your internal organs function. So it's a scary thing when you know you're suffering and you're not getting the help that you need. And so what do you do in a situation like that when you're going to a doctor and they're supposed to be there to help you, and you could feel like, I don't know if you can feel energy of people, but when you walk in the room and they just, just about a checkbook and stuff, they're checking their watch and they're trying to rush out, be like, okay, this is what you have, and not even explain it to you, even not having a psychologist, but a regular doctor, when you go, you want them to explain things to you so that you understand them. And a lot of times they're not understanding, and they lack the empathy that you need as a patient to get the help that you need. And it's definitely not fair. We have to fight for ourselves and our community to get the proper services that we need so that we can continue to flourish. Mental health is definitely important because how we think, right? Mental health issues is about how we think. And so how we think affects how we feel, and how we feel affects our physical part. And so they're tied in together. And if we don't get the help that we need, we're going to see a lot of more suicides. A lot of people definitely commit suicides when they don't get the help that we need. But people of color actually are on the low side of suicide rate, though. Not saying that it's a good or a bad thing. African Americans and people of color are less likely to commit suicide than their counterpart. But again, it's, everything is left undiagnosed or is not properly diagnosed, and a lot of people don't report. And there is a lot of stigma, especially when you do have mental health issues as well, not just with the doctors, but within our own communities. When you talk about mental health, like, let's say you have schizophrenic or you're bipolar, right? You have multiple personalities, you have panic and anxiety. When you come to people and try to explain these things, a lot of times people look at you sideways, like there's something really wrong with you. Well, it is. I mean, I think it's something wrong with each and every one of us, right? I don't think no one is so perfect that, they should judge people, but people do still judge people with mental health issues. And especially if you're people of color, I know people from conversations and in my own experiences, like when you're a person of color, you're taught, oh, you have to be stronger, oh, you just need to suck it up, it's not that bad, you have all this other stuff to deal with, don't even worry about your mental health. But mental health is definitely important. How we think about ourselves and the environment around us can affect us internally, right? Those thoughts are racing, you don't know why, you definitely need to get help for it. There are other approaches, though, therapy. And then, if you go to church, I use holistic healing as a way to combat my mental illness. And it's a shame you feel left alone if you don't have your family to turn to, or your friends that are sitting there judging you or putting these stigmas on you. Who do you have to turn to, right? And that's why people turn to outside things such as drugs and alcohol again, because it's like you feel like you're trapped in this box by yourself, and then there is no way out. But there is a way out. If you have those type of people around you, it sucks to say, maybe you have to get a new circle of friends. Can't really replace your family, but people definitely should be supportive if they don't know that you are suffering. I always talk about this. You got to be supportive of people. We don't choose to have mental health illnesses, right? It is our responsibility to get the help that we need. We can't put that on anyone else, but definitely it's important to have that love and support. And especially during this, having mental health and racism, some good things to know is that you have to be proud of who you are, no matter your skin color, right? We don't choose how we are, right? I think that's of a higher power, but we need to love our skin color for the way that it is. We are who we are for a reason, right? And don't let anyone take that away from you. Your skin color is beautiful, right? Whether you're whites or black, browns, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. Be in love with who you are and your culture. That's empowerment. Don't let anyone take that away from you. People are gonna, at the end of the day, people are always going to judge us. They're going to criticize us. But don't let that deter you from getting the help that you need. Don't let that deter you from building the life that you want for yourself. Talk about your experiences of racism with other people. maybe some people, maybe someone of a different race don't know how it feels to be of someone of color. Maybe share your experiences with them. That can open their eye. A lot of people are ignorant to racism because they never experience it themselves. And maybe sharing that story with them can open up their eyes, and maybe they'll be in the fight with you. It says lean on family and friends, especially if you've dealt with racist situations. It's important to tell people your experiences, especially our country right now. It's definitely, I hope it's getting better. But I don't know, like I experienced certain situations of racism myself, being biracial. I got called names growing up because I was biracial. I think it's more acceptable now, but it's still that, my mom's side of the family, they kind of want to disown us for a little bit because my mom decided to have children by a black man. But it's better now, I guess. I don't know. As an adult, I try not to let my skin color define who I am or prevent me from getting the help that I need. If I feel that I am in a place where someone is judging me by the color of my skin, I'm going to remove myself from that situation, because I don't think skin color should be an irrelevant thing to determine whether someone needs help or not. When you're a doctor or a therapist, if someone is there, you're taking an oath to give all that you can, right? To provide the best care that you can to this patient. Skin color shouldn't be a factor in that, right? That person needs help. And so it's important as a job, your career that you chose to help these people to the best they're possible. Like having mental health illness is it's hard enough, right, dealing with ourselves. And so when we come to people, we expect to get the care and the help that we need. And that a lot of us continue to suffer in silence because we're fearful of doctors, we're fearful of therapists, we're fearful of labels, right? When you go to therapy, people like, oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, you're in therapy. Oh, it must be something wrong with you. Not knowing that maybe a lot of us will benefit from having therapy. There's nothing wrong with getting help. If we are sick, we go to the doctor, right? We get our physical checked. If our foot hurts, we go to the podiatrist. Like if our heart hurts, we go to a heart doctor. So why is it a stigma of getting help for our mental as well? Like that is an important, so that we can have a good, fulfilling life. We don't want to continue to suffer, but it's definitely important that in our communities, we try to find resources to shed a light on what's happening, especially with racism, with mental health, and not just only with mental health, but other services as well. We're lacking in certain areas because we are afraid to speak, but we need to band together and speak up and get the services that we need for ourselves and our community. We don't want our children to get misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed or overdiagnosed. We don't want our men to get improperly diagnosed. We don't want us as women to get improperly diagnosed. What we have to do is continue to fight. If we see something wrong, if we do go to a doctor and they're not properly diagnosed, or we feel some type of way, it's okay to report people. It's okay to fight for equality. We have to continue to, it's a shame that we still have to continue to fight for equality just because the color of our skin, but that is the situation it is. But don't feel ashamed for having the skin color you have. Every shade of skin color is beautiful. That is how God designed us, and that's who we are. And so we should be proud. We should love on that. Don't let no one tell you no different. Continue to fight for the services that you need. And I am running out of time, but I want to thank each and every one of you for definitely tuning in. Don't forget to share cmpradio.net every Sunday at 12 p.m. Download the Live 365 app. You can listen to me weekly, 12 p.m. on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. Also, my website, www.becomeyourseed.com. I talk about the mental, physical, emotional, physical aspects of ourself and spiritual. Follow me on Instagram, Become Your Seed. I share poetry and other things on there as well. I also have an event coming up next Saturday, March the 27th. It's at 517 Avenue of the States. It's from 4 until 8 p.m. throwing this event in order to collect items for the homeless. So if you already bought a ticket, you can bring your items there as well. Tickets are $10, but if you decide that you want to buy a ticket at the door, it will be $20. So it's best that you message me beforehand. I have Cash App and I have PayPal as well. A shout out to my sponsor again, Flawless Tires, 1195 Chester Pike. Make sure you go in and check them out. They're there, Monday through Sunday. So just give them a call. Thank each and every one of you. Remember, you're worthy and worth it and valuable. You're an intricate part of the universe. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Till next time.